Hey everybody, welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from giantbomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about an unexpected new Nintendo Switch 2 edition. And is Unreal ruining movies? It's going to be a good one because we have Jan Ochoa on the show. Jan, how are you doing?
I am doing good, Grubb. In this week's hyperfixation, I'm thinking I'm just going to go become a runner and a track star.
Okay, yeah. Now, is that something that comes naturally? Have you been...
No.
Track star. Do you mean like sprinter or long distance?
Primarily long distance. I think Dan has incepted me with the idea of perhaps joining him in the marathon he's running later in the year. Now, that's all the way in October. I've done a 5K. I did a 5K last year, and I have one coming up in April. But that's 3 miles compared to, what is it, 26, 27? So
it is a 24.1. I can't remember what a marathon is. Something like that.
So mentally trying to prepare for that. Also, you know, a friend of the site, Michael O'Leary, he's always running these runs like around the Disney parks, and that just sounds fun. And they get cool medals.
That seems real fun. Yeah, it's a good time. Like if you're gonna pay the money to be part of that, like at least you get a cool medal.
Yeah, and also in the process, I could get hot, Grubb.
Yeah, that's dangerous though. I don't know what we're gonna do. Are we on YouTube? I know we're trying some new stuff this morning. Is the YouTube feed going?
I believe YouTube should be going.
Okay. Is it turned? Maybe it's not. Is it turned on YouTube?
I will investigate that as the show is going.
I don't know. So I was sick over Christmas and then a different cold earlier in January, and now I think I'm hoping, which is an awful thing to hope, that this is just a small bit of food poisoning. I was up all not all night, but I was up pretty late dealing with an upset tum-tum. And it's like, okay, I want to like do the show and everything, and I'm feeling good enough to do it. But it's like, wish I could have slept last night. That would have made a difference. But yeah, it's one thing after another over here dealing. And at this time, I'm like, it's probably not the kids, but the other 2 times they definitely just brought home some fun new disease, and I had to get through that.
One battle after another, Grubb.
It's one battle after another over here.
I'm
Absolutely.
sorry, Sensei.
Thank you, Sensei. All right, let's go ahead and explain ourselves. We're giantbomb.com. We are independent games media, video game doofuses out here on our own, and you can help prop us up and ensure that we can continue to do this thing of being on our own and independent without anyone, holding us back or trying to make it so we can't be who we are. You all empower that. Thank you all so much. It also gets you ad-free versions of the episodes, other goodies, things like that. All right, as far as this show goes, most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings, or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with critic reviews for Mio, Memories in Orbit. We did a quick look of this. Chuck definitely enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm going back to it. I'm seeing it. I'm getting it. It has an 83 on OpenCritic, 4 stars from Allison Cochran at The Gamer. Mio, Memories in Orbit is a demanding, luminous journey through decay and empathy, one that asks a lot of its players and gives back just enough to make sure the struggle is worthwhile. An 8 out of 10 from Nintendo Life. Mio is a compelling adventure with solid platforming and combat. The vessel is a great place to explore, and the mod system adds versatility. A great Metroidvania, then through its similarities to genre heavyweights, though its similarities to genre heavyweights stops it from being essential. That's where I was kind of at early on, where it's like I can like see the comparisons like 1-to-1 to Hollow Knight.
Sure.
And it's not quite Hollow Knight. Although I think I've heard from people who definitely prefer this. So I think there's going to be a space for if Hollow Knight wasn't for you. I mean, that's Chuck. Chuck like enjoyed Silk Song,
Mhm.
but this is the one where he's like, oh, this one clicked a lot more, and I think it might kind of open up the genre to even more people who are like, I want a Hollow Knight, but maybe not quite as punishing. Although this game definitely has its difficulty. Last one, 9 out of 10 from Maddie Fisher at DualShockers. Mio is a dark, challenging Metroidvania Souls-like that perfectly understands what makes this genre so much fun. Combat feels precise and weighty with fantastic enemy design and one of the most enjoyable Metroidvania maps seen in years. Also, traversal is incredible. It's just
Cool.
a solid one of these. Any interest, Jan? I know like your like Metroidvania like relationship runs hot and cold sometimes. You always want to try some out. Does this sound like one that could be for Jan Ochoa?
I think, Grubb, I'm going to be a little bit superficial here, and I'm going to say that the overall look of the game is not enticing me. I did like the look and aesthetics of Silk Song a lot, and for a Metroidvania, you're going to be in that world a lot, and
Yeah.
I think if you're not enjoying the visual accompaniment, then maybe the game also will not be for you. Looking at Mio Memories in Orbit, not particularly my type of look for a game, but Chuck is very high on it. Folks, there's a quick look out on the website if you are curious to see what Mio is all about. But it's cool to see that a game is doing so hot right out the gate of 2026, Grubb.
Yeah, we went into January without really having too much to be excited about in terms of known quantities of games that were coming. Where everyone was sort of looking forward to Resident Evil Requiem in February.
Woo!
So it's like, yeah, well, and we're still looking forward to that. So it's always nice to see one of these games pop off unexpectedly, and this was definitely one of the first to do that this year. But yeah, like I said, Chuck's really into it. When he showed off to me in the quick look was really impressive. And yeah, I'm with you on the look. It's like it's not super clicking with me. You're playing as these little like ethereal robot guys. I could see it winning me over time though, so
Sure.
I'm gonna stick with it a little bit longer.
Winning Mio over time?
Winning me over. Yes, exactly. Donkey Kong Country Returns HD gets free update for Switch and Switch 2. This is from My Nintendo News. Nintendo has surprise announced and released a free content update for Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. In version 1.1.0, Switch and Switch 2 players can now play as Dixie Kong, equipped with her iconic ponytail, so she like works the way she has in the other games. In single player and local co-op and race through levels with higher speeds. Yes, in the newly added Turbo Attack mode. It's just they fixed the game, Jan. That's actually one of the big things here. There was when they ported this game from 3DS and Wii over to the Switch and now to the Switch 2, but previously on the Switch 1 version, there was like some issues with the way that the graphical layers were being rendered, so that especially in the silhouette stages, I want to say, I'm trying to remember exactly what was wrong here, but I think in the silhouette stages, the game did not look the way it was intended to look, and this updates that and solves it. Now they're adding other things, and this is all free. It's a weird game, I think, to get one of these Nintendo Switch 2 editions before something like a Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is the one I think everyone's kind of waiting for. But I could see this game also being like urgent for them in terms of, oh, we want to fix that eventually. Let's throw in some extra stuff, make it a Nintendo Switch 2 edition, make a big deal about it, and see if we can get even more mileage out of the game.
Yeah, Grubb, this seems like an odd pick. I know that Xenoblade is technically first party, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I was going to use the excuse that Donkey Kong is like a first-party boy, so he would get priority in line. But Xenoblade Chronicles, I think, is a franchise that a lot of people are clamoring for some type of update. I loved 3 a lot, and I would.
Right.
I think that is a rare instance of me wanting to play a remaster, or I guess like a port of a fairly recent game to a modern console. Interesting that it's that it took this long to fix it. I can't say that this is one that I am also clamoring to go play, even though I am a recent convert.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good game. It is. I've played it a couple times before. This is now, if you're counting, the 4th release of this game.
Ooh.
So it's and and this is a free update again, so not really a release, but yeah, free update. So, but it's the fourth iteration of this release that it's like, oh, is this a reason to pay attention to this? And I like the game, but I didn't love it so much that I will be playing it again for these reasons.
Grubb, I'm a little bit disappointed. They had every perfect opportunity to do like a Marvel Spider-Man and update the look of Donkey Kong to the new doofus
Oh, that would have
looking
been
Donkey
funny.
Kong.
Yeah.
And if they did, I think I might have actually checked it out because I like the design of nicer himbo Donkey Kong rather than like angrier eyebrows Donkey Kong.
Yeah, the that Donkey Kong designed in the times of the Silicon Graphics computers, and they just had one look to them. They really couldn't emote much more than that. So they just like you default to angry, and you're kind of angry in every situation. It worked out great when they obviously translated that to the cartoon, the Crystal Coconut, like just pure art. But otherwise, it kind of left something to be desired. I always liked that old Donkey Kong design, but this new one is definitely my preference in this moment for sure. All right, Peak Devs next game looks like Overcooked in a Warehouse, and it is coming out this year. This is from Ford James at Polygon. Aggro Crab, the developer behind Peak, one of 2025's most successful friend slop games and holder of the 14th spot in our best games of the year list, has revealed their next game will be coming this year. It was on ours, right? Did we get Peak on the top 10?
I don't remember if it was a top 10. I know that it won a category for sure.
Crash Out Crew is the name of the new game, and it looks like pure chaos. This Overcooked, but rather than it's Overcooked, but rather than being in a fast-paced kitchen environment with your pals, you're instead driving turbocharged forklifts around enormous warehouses. Probably not too dissimilar to how FedEx or UPS runs their warehouses, given the state of some of my packages how they turn up. At Daniel Shipping, things move fast, reads the Steam description, and they go on to describe what does very much, Jan, sound like overcooked, but in a warehouse. Like you're even like getting orders that you have to like go get certain packages to fulfill and stuff like that. So hey, one thing here, cool. This sounds like a pretty cool game. The other thing, oh yeah, this is the sort of stylings of Aggro Crab. Release a game like every year, and just because they had a mammoth hit that surpassed everything they thought was going to happen, doesn't mean they're going to abandon that. And that's cool. It's like they could just keep making like DLC for Peak and sell us different hats for forever, and they will do that. And they probably will kind of keep going back to that. But man, indie devs can also keep delivering numerous games one after the other, and that's really exciting to me.
Yeah, and it feels good to support an indie team like Aggro Crab, Grubb, where making games is a difficult process. We all know this at this point. Hopefully, we all know this. But to see a smaller team turn it around and pop out this year, like, no, we got another one on the way. And especially given their track record with their previous games, I know that I'm going to be in store for a good time. I don't always click with every Aggro Crab release, but Peak for sure was a good time.
Yep.
And I think that they have also been one of those pioneers to really dial in the multiplayer. I don't want to say friend slot, but the multiplayer experience and just creating that havoc and fun amongst the homies. Grubb, any game that lets me drive a forklift, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Of course, I like my dad games, and forklifts do a dad game make. I'm definitely interested in this. I'm always curious to see how like the prox chat stuff is going to work in one of these friend slop games. The characters are super cute in Crash Out Crew, like even more so than Peak, at least from stills. Peak is great just because the faces were so emotive, and the kind of the Muppet shape of the body created a lot of opportunity for comedy. But I think there's a cool design to this Crash Out Crew.
If this is a game that can wind up supporting local multiplayer, I could see that taking up a lot of the casual audience as well. I have a lot of friends that will bust out Overcooked when friends are over, because that is an easy thing for people to just bust out and play at a house party if they don't want to play something like Mario Party or Mario Kart and they just want to actually work together. So I don't know. Crash Out Crew, also fantastic name. Sometimes I feel like that's me when I look in the mirror and I'm just talking.
Yeah, that's just like whenever I'm having emotions about the world, I'm in that Crash Out Crew, Jan. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, this is Aggro Crab. Jackson in the chat points out, oh yeah, they did Going Under, which I can't remember exactly, Jan. But Another Crab's Treasure was them as well, and that felt like, oh, that would be their one big go, Another Crab's Treasure. And it's like, no, they immediately that was that, you know, the Soulsborne crab game where if you
With a
turn on
gun.
the easy mode, yes, you get a gun, which is what we remember. But Another Crab's Treasure was, you know, that would be another studio's entire go around. And it's like, no, they immediately had Peak right after that, and now they're having this. So very cool to see. And again, I find it very encouraging because it's my whole thing is I like novelty and new games and stuff that comes out of nowhere. That's been gaming for me my whole life.
Yeah.
And we're not getting that from corporations anymore. We kind of have to like look to the indie side of things, and they're delivering. That's the best part here.
And, you know, the best part, and I think this is just how I've been skewing the last couple of years, Grubb, where I just wind up appreciating and enjoying more of my indie game experiences over the years rather than the AAA blockbusters. Because, Grubb, these big behemoths of the industry, they can't move as nimbly as an indie studio, right? They can't suddenly refocus. Say they wanted to turn Marathon into a Hades-like. They can't do that at this point.
No way. Yeah. And they couldn't like let's get Marathon out so next year we could do our Hades like instead.
Sure.
There's just no way. It's too big, too expensive. The size of the bet would have to be too big for them to justify doing something like that.
Baby too big.
Baby too big. All right, let's go ahead and take a break. We have plenty more headlines to get to after this. We'll do that once we have some messages. If you want to skip out on those, we put out ad-free versions of the video and audio program. You can get those by going to giantbomb.com/join. We'll be right back. It's Game Mess Mornings. We're back. Jeff Grubb, Jan Ochoa. Let's get right into the headlines once again. Someone already brought Anthem back to life and has it running on a private server, of course. This is from Kenneth Shepard over at Kotaku. While ex-BioWare producer Mark Dura made a whole pitch about how EA could still salvage Anthem for relatively cheap, it does seem more likely that BioWare and its parent company aren't going to let the game die, or they are going to let it die a meaningless death, I should say. However, some fans are looking into how the game could remain playable despite the servers being shut down, and one person has already managed to get it running on a peer-to-peer server. YouTuber And799 has posted a video of the game running on local servers, though some of the online features, such as looking at your online profile, didn't work. And799 was able to get the game running with 2 players in the same matchmaking space. According to the video description, this is all just for research and experiment and shouldn't be considered indicative of any kind of Anthem revival process. But that's how it always starts. People just dinking around, seeing what they can do with these things, seeing like, hey, how heavy is the server? Can I run this thing? Can I get everybody in here? And then someone eventually either picks up the torch, or this person will be like, you know what, I can't actually see this through. We can rely on the community to do this, right? We're talking last story. Indie games we're sort of relying on for that novelty, being able to find games that we wouldn't, or experiences that just big corporations can't deliver on. Big corporations are also going to eventually abandon their live service games, and just like they abandon all the stuff they do. And if we wanted to kind of continue to see support for it, it's always going to come from the community. So I expect Anthem to be back online in some form, in some way, within the next year or so. I don't know.
Yeah, granted that, I don't know, some corporate oversight from EA doesn't try and like punch this and bury this into the ground. I would love to check this out, Grubb. I thought Anthem looked cool when it originally came out. The loop and I guess the gameplay wasn't enough to catch everyone, but I don't know. You all looked like Iron Man, and Iron Man
like Iron Man
can be cool. I also love this type of preservation, Grubb, where you know a community, whether or not they're really into the game, sometimes I find they just want the challenge of saying they did it, which I am all about. Another online community that has kept a game up and running is something that I think we should maybe explore one time this year is the old MMO Toontown.
Okay, yeah.
It was like
I think you've mentioned this server before. Yeah, I want to look into this. What is this? How did it work?
It's a Disney MMO. And like that's it. I don't know anything else about the game other than it
that's
came
enough.
a very long time ago, and the servers went down, but then because of a fervent community, they decided to like revive it and keep it going, and it's been going for quite a while now, from my understanding.
Okay, yeah, I want to check that out. I do want to like look into more like community supported, community hosted servers and stuff like that. I want to play Phantasy Star Online. Like that's what I want to be doing in
That's been my
2026.
dream, Grubb.
Yeah, we should just get that set up and just do it for real at this point.
I will just tape like Joy-Cons to the side of my keyboard just to replicate
Yes.
that experience of that cool controller.
Yeah, that's the dream right there. Yes, cast it to me. All right, yes, next story here. Nintendo might have to raise the price of the Switch 2 at the worst time. This is from Lewis Parker at Kotaku. Nintendo may be about to follow in Sony and Microsoft's footsteps and announce the Switch 2 price hike, according to a report from a video game consumer insight firm, Nico Partners. So this is where Daniel Ahmad works. Although the new system is currently outselling the original Nintendo Switch by a wide margin in its first year, spiking RAM costs and ongoing tariffs could change all of that. And Nico Partners does predict that it is very likely that the Switch 2 will get a price increase this year. We're talking about this ad nauseum now at this point, Jam, but no one sort of is like looking at the numbers and looking at the data and coming out going, no, they'll be able to get away with no price increase. That's gonna like push people away from a Switch 2 that already seems like it's a tough sell to the normal consumer. Everyone's like, nah, like those issues are real, and they might still have to raise the price.
Yeah, I think it is inevitable at this point, Grubb. And if you are on the fence and you have the means to go purchase a Switch 2, I think you should just go and get it and not wait for some type of mid-life refresh. I mean, we're just 1 year in. And I know we reported on a story a couple days ago about potential other Switch 2 models. That is not going to be the price that it's at right now, or even maybe $100 more. It's going to be significantly more expensive. So if you are at all curious about checking out, I don't know, first-party Nintendo games that have already come out, that are going to come out, you got to hop on now.
Yeah, I mean, the alternative is like, just you're not going to be buying a Switch 2 for a couple of years, and I know a lot of people are going to go, yeah, that's fine with me. I'm happy with all the games I played on the Switch 1, and I will wait until the Switch 2 is compelling enough to justify whatever price it's at. I think there's going to be every day more people joining the crowd of, oh, maybe I was going to get a Switch 2, but now I'm definitely just going to wait. And that's even before the price increase happens, just because game prices are still so high. Yeah. And I feel like there's a fair number of people on the fence who are like, and that software has not justified that price so far. So yes, this is like the worst possible time. Nintendo's got to sort of be hitting the home runs and getting the wins to justify the Switch 2 to a lot of people. And instead, it's like, oh no, they're putting out other fires in the background that are forcing them to raise costs. Yeah. And I think it's going to make for a tough year. Now, Smash Brothers comes along, Zelda, Mario. If these games come along, that changes the story slightly. Mm-hmm. But I still think that there's going to be a larger percentage than Nintendo is expecting, especially if the price goes up, that will say, I'm holding off on getting this thing at all. And that does that matter enough to Nintendo for them to hesitate on raising the price, Jan? I really don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think it's enough. And Grubb, for doing that mental calculus of like, well, Nintendo is only going to release so many games a year that they themselves, that I don't know, if you have that hankering for something like Animal Crossing, there are more than enough alternatives at this point. If you have a hankering for like a Mario platformer, again, multiple alternatives at this point that you could get on Steam that go on sale, that aren't going to remain $80 throughout its whole lifetime being sold on a console. I don't know if Nintendo's necessarily taking all of that into account, though, just because they are just such an oddball company with how they're run. But they're going to have to raise the price. People are going to be upset, and there are going to be a fair amount of people, Grubb, that also don't care.
Yep. exactly. They just don't care, and in both directions, right? Don't care and move on. Don't care and like, this is my gaming system. I'll pay whatever to get it. And
Right.
if I was waiting or whatever, or they do drop an updated model that we talked about on previous shows, or whether that's a Switch 2 Lite that is cheaper, or a Switch 2 OLED that's more expensive but has a better screen. There are suckers among us. I'm one of them who will kind of keep showing up for these things and maybe buying multiple consoles. Although if it goes up a lot and then the OLED model is a lot more on top of that, I mean, what are we talking about? $600, $700? That's going to be real tough to justify.
Yeah. And also, Grub, I need them to just unlock the color on the Joy-Cons. All right. I don't want little accents. I want the whole dang thing.
Or at least some sort of design on there. At least some sort of accent that like makes it feel like it splashes a little bit more. Like I just in my head when I was thinking about those new Joy-Con colors, I'm like, there's like there's a gap there between the Joy-Con and the system where you can see a fair amount of the color, and it's like no, it's like a millimeter wide. So you kind of have to be looking at the right angle, and that's where the color is. It's crazy. All right, continuing on here, we just talked about Nintendo Switch 2 raising the price. Over at Microsoft, they are working on that new Halo game, Halo campaign redone, reimagined, something like that. And they are going to be putting that on the PlayStation 5. And they say this is an opportunity for the series to grow, obviously, but also reconnect the community. And Jen, I would have like, does that sound right to you? Does it sound like Halo will have an opportunity to sort of make magic happen by being like, hey, we're back and we're everywhere and we're going to bring gamers together across platforms, and this is a chance for Halo to like hit hard and kind of get back some of its magic?
I don't see it hitting hard. I do see it hitting though, Grub. I think it may have been Circana and Matt Piscatella talking about this, of how like the most played PlayStation 5 games are some of them being Microsoft games like Forza and whatnot. But seeing Halo, I think also for the sheer novelty of seeing Halo, which has always been associated with Xbox, always been associated with Microsoft, suddenly being on a PlayStation 5 is just going to be funny to see. It's funny to see the console warriors out there lose their shit, but also I don't know, to see Master Chief pop on and then be able to switch to Astrobot in the next second. I do think this is going to be big, but I don't think this is going to capture the initial magic that Halo had.
Yeah, I just think it's this is the campaign evolved, right? So we're not even talking about the multiplayer. Obviously, this could set up a situation where it's like then when they do have the next Halo multiplayer thing, that this has primed the pump and got people excited. But yeah, I think that the sort of reconnecting of the community that they talk about here, when the Chris Scullion transcribed this interview, that only really happens when you get a certain set of circumstances all lining up perfectly at the same time. Like we talked about the Halo knockoff game that just got the campaign or the Splitgate 2 and then Splitgate Arena or whatever they called it. That had the certain number of circumstances line up where people were jaded with Halo and in that moment, and there was a bunch of other big shooters that people have been playing for a while, but they were all in a lull, and everyone's like, we want to go back to Halo, but Halo Infinite still bums us out. So where can we go? And this game stepped up. It was a couple of years old, the original Splitgate, when it had this popularity spike, and it's like, okay, just putting out Halo campaign and even making it good, having it deliver on all the promises that it possibly can. It just doesn't feel like it's going to be the thing that will be able to scratch that itch and provide an opportunity for people to go, oh yeah, I do love Halo. It's, if you like this already, and this was not going to change that, I don't think.
Grub, am I correct in that this is only the campaign and not a multiplayer mode?
I think, yes, it's only the campaign. It's called Campaign Evolved, I think, to like just scream that. Yes, and I think the plan is to have a new Halo game with the focus on multiplayer be inside of that product, as opposed to being having a distraction over here. They already have the Master Chief Collection for people who do want all the multiplayer modes. I think they don't want to bifurcate that audience. So yeah, Halo's in a weird spot in general, right? They're like they do have the MCC still running, and people are playing multiplayer over there. And then if you want to like do a new multiplayer thing, it can't be like Halo 1 again, because that would kind of diffuse the excitement of MCC, which is still going for them. It's weird, right?
Yeah, Grubb, I take it back. This is gonna infuriate a lot of people. I'm seeing folks say there's also no local split screen campaign where what the fuck? Those are some fond memories of like the original
Right.
Halo trilogy. I think for a lot of people, they do consider, they do think of Master Chief as like the obviously the poster boy of the Halo franchise, but the multiplayer is a major component. And I don't know how you're going to grow and build the community if the community can't play with each other.
Yeah, it's going to require them to sort of get that next Halo game right. That'll be all the focus there, and I don't know how that works either. I mean, a bunch of people when we started talking about this in chat saying kids aren't interested in Halo at all. They don't know what it is, and yeah, I suppose though maybe that's what they do is they do a Halo event in Call of Duty and see maybe they do a Halo event with their partners over at Epic for Fortnite and all that stuff. And that leads back into the game at some point. Maybe. I don't know. Fortnite does seem like it has the power to be a little bit of that Smash Brothers. If it's like, oh, here's this Marth character. I wanted to eventually play a Fire Emblem because of that, because I remember him from Smash. Fortnite seems like it could do that. I just don't know if that's the really going to work for Halo, which carries all of this baggage.
I think Master Chief's already in Fortnite, right?
I think so. Yeah.
The problem though, Grubb, is that I'm just gonna say it. I believe if they were to add like a Halo, or if they add Halo like elements or a Halo mode or whatever, an event in Fortnite, it's going to be more fun to play in Fortnite than actual Halo.
Yeah, that's right. That's a tough comparison, huh?
Yeah.
A lot of, even if not everyone agrees with that, a lot of the audience you would be trying to woo would certainly agree with that. The people playing Fortnite. So yeah, that probably doesn't work either. I really don't know. I'm glad it's not my job to figure it out. Okay. CD Projekt issues DMCA notice against Cyberpunk 2077 VR mod. This is from Sophie McAvoy at gamesindustry.biz, who writes basically the story here being, this is not about it being a VR mod or anything specific that the mod is doing, other than the person who makes the mod has a Patreon and is making money from it. CD Projekt reached out to the creator and said, hey, could you please make it free with optional donations or take it offline? And it sounds like they're still at an impasse, and that the VR mod creator is kind of being a little defiant still, so might end up having to just take it down. I've always been like pro the idea of people who create mods being able to make money off their work. I think that there is a bunch of different ways they can do that. Optional donations are very common, but I bet they don't really actually convert all that many people. There's premium versions of mods that people can get through Patreons, and I guess that would get shut down in this case because the CD Projekt's an entire argument is you can't make money from our stuff without permission. You have to get permission from us and go through us. And Jim, my argument to that would always be, well, then make it super simple for people to go through you to make a mod so that they can make money from their work. Because this is work. To me, this is what always makes games better. And I want more ways for them to be able to supplement their income by doing this, even though the tradition obviously has been most of these mods get put out there for free.
Yeah, it's a very slippery slope, especially when you as a mod creator starts punching up and kind of purposely antagonizing CD Projekt Red, where now, dog, you did all this work. Maybe you could have brokered a deal. Maybe play ball a little bit.
Yep.
Instead of kind of agitating CD Projekt Red, but you pick the battles you fight. So there you go. I'm kind of surprised that Cyberpunk didn't already have some type of VR support. And dog, you could have just parlayed this into something. Get those Boku bucks. But
yep.
I understand people's pride.
Yes, I think that they're like, you're right that it's like you got to find that middle ground, and I think like this is just so understood that if you have someone said a Patreon only mod, a lot of companies are going to come after you. Now, Christoph in chat says CD PR has no choice; it has to protect their copyright or lose it. That's not right for copyright. That applies to trademark, which I'm sure that CD Projekt Red or CD Projekt would argue some of their trademark is being violated there. So that's maybe still the case. But copyright is ironclad, and you have that no matter what people do to your copy. I think that the argument here from CD Projekt that they want to shut this down because they absolutely must give their permission and nothing else can happen until they do. There's always the fair use argument, and that stuff. This stuff has just not been tested, so we don't really know like what a court would decide, what precedent would be set in a courtroom if this actually went to litigation. So everyone kind of has to sort of just posture, and that leaves people who make these mods in a situation where it's like we're just going to sort of peacock a little bit here and kind of look a little bit like, okay, man, chill out.
Yeah.
All right. Last couple of stories here. Last couple. Pirates of the Caribbean director says Unreal Engine makes films look too much like games. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. Pirates of the Caribbean director Gore Verbinski has criticized the increasing use of Unreal Engine in film production, saying it makes movies look too much like video games. Unreal Engine is used frequently to create visual effects in today's movies and TV shows, with notable examples including The Matrix Resurrections, The Mandalorian, and the Fallout series. In an interview with But Why, though, Verbinski, who directed The Ring, Rango, the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbean films, and the upcoming Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, was asked why the look of visual effects in films have changed over the past 15 years. And he said, we used to have models, and we used to have labor-intensive people like spending every day painting each frame digitally. And now we have Unreal Engine, and Unreal Engine comes from the world of games, so it makes movies look a bit too gamey. Jan, do you agree with this? I think there's definitely something to it.
Yeah, I think Gore is on the right track. It turns out Gore knows what he's talking about. Yeah, there are a lot of movies, Grubb, where you will kind of be taken out of the film because some element will be poorly implemented CGI. I know that the volume was really cool when they initially introduced it, but you can definitely tell during some parts of The Mandalorian where it's like, okay, all right, we're still in this little room now, huh? Using it on a situational basis, 100%, yes. Totally do it. But to kind of use it as like your main thing for a good chunk of the show, it's a little bit disappointing. And then you can start to see the seams of everything. And I don't know, Grubb, I was just watching Wes Anderson's The Phoenician Scheme last night, and Wes Anderson's a little freak, parentheses positive, that really enjoys using practical sets and miniatures and everything. And I think that is missing from a lot of big blockbuster films. The homie ABC points out that, watching Avatar 3, certain parts of it do look like a video game cutscene. And I know that is ostensibly a CGI movie, but
yeah,
I don't want to be taken out of it because I start noticing little bits and pieces of like, that looks like a video game, or that doesn't look as polished as like a AAA video game, because a game like Horizon Zero Dawn looks amazing. But at the same time, I don't want to see some of that eke over into a movie unless, I don't know, it is a Horizon movie.
Yeah, and like even when it all looks cheap, when the traditional models look cheap and CGI look cheap versus this looking cheap, I think this one just is the most soulless of it, where it's kind of fun to see stop motion skeletons in a movie and they're kind of moving all jerky. It's like, you know what? That's amazing. I can see the craft and it does take me out, but it takes me out to a bunch of people working really hard on a studio lot to create something fun, as opposed to it being dragged and dropped from software, and it just doesn't feel as human at the end of the day. So, yeah, there's just less magic even to the magic that they're creating with this.
Grubb, breaking news story from Jason Schreier. I'll just read Jason's post here. Breaking, Ubisoft is canceling the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake in 5 other games. 4 unannounced, 1 mobile. The company says it is also delaying 7 games, including an unannounced project believed to be a Black Flag remake as part of a larger restructuring. Uh,
Holy moly. All right. Good grab, Jan. Okay, so let's see here.
uh,
That Prince of Persia Sands Time remake was supposed to be out any time now. Is there more?
video. Chris Scullion also is reporting on it. Let me just go scan through it, Grubb.
Yeah,
If there's
let me take a
anything
look here
else.
as well.
Yeah, it's on Video Games Chronicle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see.
Major organizational, operational, and portfolio reset. The company is stating, and also conducted a thorough review of its content pipeline.
They've done this a bunch of times before. They've thoroughly reviewed their content pipeline multiple times. They've delayed all of their games at least twice before. Doing this again. Now, this is it sounds like this is all happening outside of that the 3 game triumvirate that is supported by Tencent, right? So that's Far Cry, Ghost Recon, Assassin's Creed. I always have to remember each time I say that. And then it sounds like all of this is everything else left over at the old Ubisoft. Yeah.
Yeah. This doesn't feel super good. Especially with all the stories that we've had over the last couple of weeks of like, oh, Prince of Persia got rated, Prince of Persia, it's coming soon. And the kind of like positive sentiment with that remake coming. This is kind of wild for that to get canned potentially this far into the remake.
Yeah, like again, like if this thing was rumored to be out any day now. Like it was actually rumored to be out a couple of days ago. And I think that those dates were actually accurate at one point. So what the hell? I mean, they must think that it's bad. But then, okay, what is the situation that Ubisoft is in where they don't want to put out a bad game to recoup some costs, so they just completely squash it? What does that say about how they are trying to present themselves? That sounds to me like they do not want any dings in their armor so that they can maybe sell off the rest of these assets to whoever is going to show up and clean up. I can't imagine who would want to do that.
Right.
It's not going to be like the Googles of the world anymore.
No, because I ultimately see this as like devaluing the company, Grubb, and this is just me, armchair business person here, and I don't know the inner workings, but seeing a company cancel 6 games and delaying 7 doesn't feel like it is a good sign of the company's overall health, let alone management. And I know that we've known that Ubisoft is a poorly managed company because the Guillemot family is terrible at running a business. So what the fuck is going on? What do they expect to happen?
Yeah, right. Yes, there probably will be some write-offs here, some tax write-offs. And then they are, what I'm expecting now is a bloodbath. Like I'm expecting Ubisoft to be falling apart. Like, maybe this is a little bit more color to that story about Julian Garrity leaving the Division developer Massive to go work over at EA instead, a week after saying that, hey, that game is going to be huge. Well, he got out of there really quickly after that, and maybe he saw this. Maybe he was informed. Hey, the axe is going to be coming down here pretty soon.
I just saw that Schreier also posted a follow-up post to that original one we read, Grubb. Jason says, for the last few weeks, rumors have been circulating that Prince of Persia, Sands of Time was completed and would be released on January 16th, like you just said, Grubb. Jason continues, in reality, Ubisoft was not happy with the state of the game and decided to cancel it as part of a massive reorganization. Hi, Mike Minotti. My question that I posed to Grubb was, if you are Ubisoft and you're kind of hedging your bets on this Prince of Persia remake, and Prince of Persia is like a valuable tool in your arsenal of IP, wouldn't you want to go over it with a fine-tooth comb way before it gets this close to the finish line?
But who knows? This whole thing has been weird. I mean, they showed us a version of this game way back when, made by a different studio, that when we saw it, everybody hated it. And so then that version was canceled. It's technically the second time this game has been canceled now, really, when you think about it. No, I don't think they have any fine tooth combs over there. I think all of their combs are huge and just filled with gaps and missing teeth and all sorts of shit and crud. through them. But boy, yeah, I mean, like at a certain point, if you start this project 2 times and both times it doesn't meet your expectations, whose fault is that? And it's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment for you and the company. Ubisoft is in, they've been in such a weird state with canceling projects and even their games that actually seem pretty good, like Outlaws, the other Prince of Persia games we've had. They
Yeah.
somehow aren't able to help them find the right audiences. They don't seem to get enough advertising, or just I don't know what it is, but they don't get the love that they do deserve. While everything still just seems to be about Assassin's Creed.
I'm back.
Yeah,
Okay,
hey.
All right, I was filling in for you. Don't worry, buddy. You got
Thank
this.
you so
Bye.
much, man. I appreciate it.
The power of friendship saved him.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, Mike. All right, let me get this camera back on. All right. I don't know. Internet went out completely, but just the internet this time. So at least the power stayed up. Okay. At first, I was like, "Oh, Jan got disconnected," and I sat there for 10 seconds, and then nothing else worked. All right. Thanks, Mike, for stepping in. I appreciate that. Yeah. Okay. I guess where'd you guys kind of leave off with Ubisoft now? Yeah. No problem. Oh, he's dying.
We had just left off where Mike mentioning that this is the second time this remake has been canceled. I was just asking, like, if you were Ubisoft, wouldn't you want to comb through this game and like make sure every minute detail was good before it gets this close to the finish line? And folks in chat are mentioning, rightfully so, it's a PS2 game that they're trying to remake, and it's a good PS2 game. I can't imagine there is that many things that you have to like readjust other than, I don't know, graphics. I'm very curious to see what parts of this remake or remaster weren't hitting with Ubisoft.
Yeah, I mean, one of the rumors was it was like going to they were going to have the character that you escort be more capable, and she was going to be more like survivable. She would not be in situations where if you did not do everything for her, she will certainly die. And so, okay, well, that sounds like a smart edit. And so, well, I doubt that was the problem. It must just be the fundamentals here are off, where the game doesn't look nice and they maybe doesn't play as well. Maybe it was a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 situation, and or the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater remake from Robo Moto, whoever that studio was, where it's like this just feels like a ghost of itself. And when we put it out there, this game doesn't stand to make us that much money. And if we put it out there, it's only going to tarnish our reputation further, so that when prospective buyers come along and they Google us, they're going to see a bunch of gamers are mad at them about not being able to remake a PS2 game. This gets rid of that risk, but only if your biggest concern right now is selling things off, at least in my opinion. Maybe there's some other explanation, but that's where my mind goes.
There's an additional story coming out of all of this, Grubb, that Ubisoft is asking all of their staff to return to office full time to, quote unquote, boost the collective performance for AAA.
The first step in layoffs. Yes. The first step in layoffs is to get them to lay themselves off voluntarily by saying, I'm not going to return to the office. Yep. This is all starting to make a lot of sense. And it's, the future of Ubisoft that isn't part of that Tencent spinoff is in the gutter and probably not going to be coming back from this in any real way. It's a shame.
God, Grubb, I don't know. I'm just thinking of early Assassin's Creed and the fond memories with that Prince of Persia, Sands of Time trilogy. I still really, really like Warrior Within, not just because of the Godsmack song. But we're never going to see a Rayman again, are we? What? We're never going to see Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Nope. No. That's all of those have to be, but I think all of those were in the works in one way or the other. All of them have to be part of these cancellations and delays. So it was like 7 games delayed and 5 games canceled.
I believe 6 games in total, including the Prince of Persia.
All right, then. Yeah, Graham is right.
Yeah, 6 canceled, 7 delayed.
6 canceled, 7 delayed. Okay. Yep. We'll kind of keep tracking this story. I bet there will be more fallout from it here pretty soon, and it'll be easier to cover it when it doesn't happen in the middle of the show when I'm getting kicked off by my ISP. All right, let's
Oh
see here.
no, I'm just seeing the calculus of the world, Grubb. 6, 7, 6 canceled, 7 delayed.
Oh God! Yes, forlornly doing the 6-7 hand motion because I'm miserable and this is all I have.
And the sands of time are slipping through my fingers.
Yes. Oh boy. Okay. Let's see here. Let's move on. We have no poll question from last week. There was no show on Monday, and we're coming off the bomb 12 from last week. But we have a new poll question. Let's get to that. Let's do one here about Donkey Kong Country Returns. Have you played Donkey Kong Country Returns so far? Like, have you played that game up to this point? Yes or no? Just kind of curious. We'll see what the results are on that one. With that out of the way, we'll get the results, like I said, on Giant Bomb Game S Mornings. Here's what we have happening on the website. We're going to be doing a Blight Club today, right, Jan?
Yes, sir. It is finally your time, Grubb, to participate in the Blightning round.
And it's at least it doesn't seem like it's going to be that bad. So at least I'm feeling kind of under the weather, so it can really hurt me. I'm especially vulnerable right now. That sounds wonderful.
You've already assumed you've already absorbed the initial impact of the costume and how it could potentially harm you. Grubkles is just you now.
Yeah, we are one and the same.
Yeah,
I and Grubkles. All right. Well, let's see. So yeah, that's happening. We'll have a voicemail dump truck this week. We're gonna have some some quick looks here or there, getting ready either for this week or for next week. We'll be back with. We're actually gonna do for UPF slot. We're gonna be doing our fantasy critic draft. So tune in for that. A lot of fun stuff happening this week.
Yes.
All right. With that out of the way, we should wrap things up. Jan Ochoa, thank you so much for spending today talking with me about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
It's the only way to start a Wednesday, Grubb.
And thank you all for watching and listening. You are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.